Smart 24, driving business.
And a warm welcome to The Point. My name is Anthony Sabale and I am your host. I'm so glad you're joining us today, and we have another special edition of The Point on which we discuss different matters that concern your business that you must be aware of if you're a business person here in Uganda, in Kampala, or all over East Africa. To follow, you can get to our YouTube platform, and that is at Smart 24 TV Live. You can also give us feedback through our Twitter. That's by following us at Smart24TV now. Definitely that will be so handy for us. Now, filing tax returns is an obligation for every taxpayer in this country. And for individual taxpayers to file provisional returns, the deadline is 30th September. The Uganda Revenue Authority, which is mandated to collect taxes and of course do tax education, is the body that definitely brings you this edition as we discuss what tax returns are and why you should be filing them by the 30th of September. Once again, my name is Anthony, and I'm not alone in this set tonight with Mr. Michael Masembe, who is a tax education expert from the Uganda Revenue Authority. Mr. Michael, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Anthony, for hosting me. I'm glad to join our viewers today on The Point. Yes, it is September, and like you introduced our discussion topic today, it is that month when the first provisional return is expected from our taxpayers. And why is it so important? We are looking at it because it is the pivot of self-assessment. It's your right as a taxpayer to tell the taxman how your business is expected to pan out, or what you expect your end of year obligations to look like. That estimate is very important, Anthony, as we will be discussing in the next minutes of this segment, for our viewers to appreciate what does it mean for them to file this provisional return. Today is 13th, and so you have around 17 days to the end of the month in which to file your estimate of what you think will be your business performance position. Will it be a profit? Will it be a loss? Will it be a break-even point? And so in any circumstance where there is tax that would be due, you pay the proportionate tax that is expected of you at the time.
Just to start our discussion, Mr. Masembe, what would you define in the simplest terms for our viewers as filing a return? What is filing a return?
Thank you very much, Anthony. For a good period of time before the setting up of the Uganda Revenue Authority and the tax regime as it was, most people who have been in the process for some time would tell you they were used to Uganda Revenue Authority coming and giving you a tax assessment, okay? And a scenario like that means the tax assessment is generated to you or for you by the taxman. However, as the tax regime kept on changing and developing, excuse me, it was realized that it is important to give the opportunity to taxpayers to tell their version of events within their business by themselves. You give someone the right to tell how they think their business will perform, or how they have seen their business performing over time.
Before leaving taxes at the end of the day.
Yes, so that is what has been called the self-assessment regime. that you give people the opportunity to assess themselves on how they feel or how they have found their business to have performed. And that is what we call a self-assessment. When you file a return, after filing it, it becomes an assessment, as though it has been given to you by the Commissioner of the Uganda Revenue Authority. And so that is the basis of everything. And for this particular period, you're asking us, what is filing a tax return? A tax return is your declaration to the Uganda Revenue Authority on how your business has performed, on who you could have paid, on who could have maybe paid you a certain amount of money. So it is a detail of the happenings within your business. And this return is made to the Uganda Revenue Authority in the form that the Commissioner General has recommended, in the form to you to fill, has given you to fill this form. It must be dated, or a tax return needs to have a date. When you are filing it, there will be a period when you have, maybe for the month or for the quarter or for that particular period. And then the tax return will also have your TIN. Okay, your TIN, because the tax identification number is your identifier to the Uganda Revenue Authority.
So it's a national ID for the authority.
Exactly, yes. So we know you by that number, and so the expectation is you're going to make your declaration going by that number. So you make that declaration to the Uganda Revenue Authority, and therefore we know that this is how Anthony performed for this particular period. And we take that. If there is any tax that results from what you have declared, we will expect that you pay. If there is no tax that has resulted and it is a zero position, then we see that you do not have to pay any tax. And if there is a loss that you incurred, then we know that in the next period coming, you will have that as a credit. And therefore it will be knocked off before any tax is paid to the URA. So that is a tax return, your declaration to the Uganda Revenue Authority on how your business has performed.
Well, when you talk about that declaration and the fact that every business now has a different scale. We have the small scale businesses, we have the large conglomerate businesses. A viewer might think that tax returns are for companies that, for example, have financial statements and all these balance sheets and which they have to submit. To what extent or what scope is the tax return required, and which businesses in particular should be filing these returns? Okay,
thank you, Anthony. A tax return ought not to be complex because there is a form that the URA has given you, and in the current set of things, this is an electronic form. It's an Excel form that you file, a Microsoft Excel form. For those who are making provisional returns, this form is actually web-based. You just go, click on the link on the URA website, fill in your TIN and password, and then when you say provisional return, it brings you a web-based form. So you just fill in the details, and it's all done. But there is no complexity or so to say, particular guidance that you need to really follow. If you just go and download the forms and fill, it will be easier. You may be a rental taxpayer. You are a landlord. You have this property, and from which you earn income. So there is a tax return that is due from you. You may be a business operator. You have your shop, you have your restaurant, you have your hospital, you have your school, you have your garage, you have your anything. It could be in a form of business, and so you need to file a tax return. Your setup may be that you're a company, and you have set up AS Services Limited, and you offer maybe consultancy services, maybe you offer construction services, it may be anything. Yes, and so you could be a company, you could be a partnership, you could be a trust, you could be an individual who is dealing in business, any form. The business may be agriculture, it could be hotel and accommodation, anything. Just file the tax return the way it is, And where you need guidance, contact the URA across its platforms, and we will receive the return, and we will guide you if there is any misdeclaration that is in there. We will give you a modified advice form or correspondence, and guide you that, Anthony, what you declared, we think it is not very correct. We give you maybe a week.
You have metrics to measure the correctness of some of these.
You see, Anthony,
this data.
Yes, while you are declaring to the URA that I made these sales of 10 million, a certain school that bought from you is very keen to show URA that we spent 15 million at Anthony's shop.
That's right.
You get it?
Because it's a chain.
It's a chain.
There are buyers and sellers,
Yes.
and you monitor both of them.
Exactly. Then the other thing is, you could tell us that I sold things worth 15 million, yet we don't see you making purchases, and we don't see you having any opening stock. So we are here wondering, where did Anthony get what he sold? So we will send you correspondence. Dear Anthony, from your records, we think there could be gaps in what you are declaring. We see you're saying you spent this amount of money paying loan interest in a bank. You paid within the expenses you had, you show interest on loans. You get it? But when we check your balance sheet, you don't have any loan. Or maybe if this loan has been completed, you've paid it in full, we check your previous year returns and there was no loan. So we are wondering, where are you getting the loan interest expense if you have no loan shown in your records? So there are many things that may trigger us to give you guidance to improve or the correctness or to make changes and updates in your return before we come to say this was really intentional, here is an additional assessment. So we ask that when you're making a tax return, one, among the things that we're talking about, putting the date of the return, your TIN, and all the details, the correctness of your return is very paramount. Try as much as possible to declare the correct thing in your tax return. Because if we find any if we find any misdeclaration, whether intentional or unintentional, it may lead you to penalties and interest, which is not a very, very good position.
I know, and I think the Commissioner General URA was forced this year to exempt, to put a window of 6 months till the end of the year for people who will be able to pay their tax obligations. That will be pardoned their penalties, because there were so many, and the people were feeling overwhelmed. And we don't want to go back into the same.
And you see, there are many irrecoverable penalties and interest that you could have seen piling up on a person. And you very well know this business is just coming out of the COVID-19 plunge and the economic meltdown that the entire world has had in the past years. And it is only logical that if there is a waiver on some of these penalties that are piling up, to give the business an opportunity to breathe, to breathe, resuscitate itself, and then start off again, a new lease of life. So Parliament found it wise to set a regulation, a law, within the amendments that came this year, that businesses that have had penalties and interest piling up on their tax ledgers, if they are able to clear the principal tax, then let this penalty and interest be forgotten. And the Commissioner General is therefore required to implement the law to the letter. I mean, it is the law that requires that his administration of the tax regime is giving people this right that has been accorded to them by the law. That if they clear the principal tax, then the interest and penalty that could have arisen in the previous periods is waived. And that is what we are implementing, and that is what we are encouraging people to come and take advantage of. Clean up your tax record, have a new start on your ledger and let us have a clean journey going forward.
Absolutely. Well, we want to take a very short breather right now, but when we return, we want to look at what kind of people are exempt from this filing of tax returns. We understand we have businesses, we have people who are employed in different companies paying taxes differently, like pay as you earn, local service tax, and the rest. How do these ones file returns, and who of these doesn't file returns? And then, as I mentioned, of course, earlier as well, under the business docket, are there also those businesses that don't have the obligation to file returns?
Okay.
And definitely, we will be also looking at what are some of the requirements when we are filing these returns. What is the A to Z? When you look at some of the documentation required, some businesses to this date, one of the challenges URA always poses is the fact that most businesses are informal and they don't have records. But what is the importance of us having these businesses keeping good and proper books of record? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. For us here at Smart 24 TV, we are saying we drive your business. I'm with Mr. Masembe Michael. We are discussing the filing of tax returns. 30th September is the deadline for filing provisional returns. So definitely, if you're an individual taxpayer, you should be opening your ears wide. We take a quick breather and return shortly. Stay with us.
Smart 24, driving business.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Fun battery phone.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Capote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Capote deal and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Capote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Smart 24, driving business.
Filing provisional tax returns is one. Mr. Masembe Michael, we discussed the details involved in filing tax returns, what you need to know from A to Z on filing tax returns. Mr. Masembe, before we went into the break, you discussed very fundamentally the things involved, and you mentioned the fact that you need, first of all, to know what your prospects are, your prospective profits or losses, and you need to justify those. What documents or what kind of documentation is required therein the process of filing tax returns?
A return is your declaration you are like, but that declaration needs to be backed by evidence. You need documented evidence to show that I paid umeme expenses, electricity this month, and there is an receipt to show I paid water bills this month, and there is a receipt to show that I paid salaries to staff, and there are pay slips and there are payroll schedules to show that I purchased items this amount, and there are purchase documents, receipts. I imported this merchandise from outside the country, and there are import documents that are showing that. So the key things that you need in your tax returns are those source documents that really show that, and there is possibly that may have a turnover that is below 500,000. Yes, you need to have records that tell that this was expense and this maybe was earned. But if your turnover is above 500 million in a year, 500 million in a year, then your books of accounts need to be worked on by a certified public accountant from the Institute of Chartered Public Accountants of Uganda, ISPAO. So if your turnover is above 500 million, at least that needs to be in place from your part. But those records are very, very important. And the requirements that we talked about over the records are the central thing for any tax return. Because if there is any requirement for clarification on what was not reported properly or correctly, and we need therefore to go back to the records to be able to tell exactly what the accurate amounts are supposed to be, the records become your defense as a taxpayer or as a client trying to meet your obligations with the Uganda Revenue Authority. The other is not material. I mean, it is not physical for you to have, but truthfulness. Declaring the correct thing is very, very important. Declaring what you know, that in the morning it is the answer you will give, and in the afternoon it is the same answer that you will give. So the correctness of your records is a requirement that is expected from you, because where it lacks, then you are exposing yourself to vulnerabilities of penalties and interest, and those expenses can be high. Let's look at a scenario, Anthony, where you do not file a tax return, even where there was zero tax, but you've skipped filing that tax return, there is a penalty of 200,000.
Even when that was not supposed
to be a nil return, even where it was supposed to be any, I mean, even where the tax could have been zero.
there will be
But
penalty
because you did not file the return or you filed it late. So it's really important that we keep the time requirements that are put for us when we are filing tax returns. Where we find ourselves unable to meet the timelines that are designated for us in which to file the returns, then file a request for extension of return due date. I mean, you can apply to the URA and you say, dear URA, today is 13th. I know I'm supposed to file this return by this timeline. I am not able. Please allow me another 20 days and this will be given to you. It is your right as a taxpayer. And what we are talking about specifically for 30th September are provisional returns for businesses that are run as sole proprietorships, as individual businesses.
Owned by individuals.
Owned by an individual. Okay, you could still be an individual as a landlord.
Partnerships don't fall in.
Yes, partnerships are other entities, they are not individuals, but then the partners are individuals, and therefore they are supposed to file their returns as individuals, because partners are looked at as persons who have stakes in a particular business, and so they are registered as individuals who are operating other businesses. So that is how they are looked at, and therefore they have obligations to fulfill. So it's important that those of us who are running individual enterprises, it could be a rental business, it could be a shop, a restaurant, or anything. As an individual, be you a director, you are expected to file your provisional returns by the 30th of September. For companies, entities that are corporations and companies, they still have up to the end of December to file their provisional returns. But still, now would be the ideal time for you to file, such that you don't expose yourself to the last minute deadline for companies, which would be December. Because for companies it is 6 months. For individuals it's 3 months, quarterly. So July is gone, August is gone, and we are right now looking into the last 2 weeks of September, within which this timeline would have elapsed. And so that is basically what we are looking at, what you need as an individual to file these tax returns. The bottom line issue is your records. Keep your records. 2, meet the timelines. 3, file the correct return. 4, even when you realize your provisional return has had a bit of changes, or what you declared before is not exactly what it is right now, you can always amend this tax return to make sure that the Uganda Revenue Authority has the correct position that you're projecting. We need to note that, and Anthony, this is very, very important, that if in your provisional returns, the declaration that you make into the Uganda Revenue Authority is off by 90%, okay? If you make a divergence of within 90%, and for example, your profit could have been maybe 10 million. If you declare maybe 9.5 million, that is still within the margin. But if you declare instead of an estimated profit of 10 million and you show maybe 7 million, that is way off. And therefore that causes you a penalty for the amount that is between, the amount between what you declared and what you ought to have declared. And so for us to protect ourselves from the potential penalty that may come from under declaration, we need to file returns that are near accurate, and when you see changes have happened from the last position that you indicated as a provisional return, always get the time to file an updated or a revised provisional return to indicate the newest position within your business.
Mr. Masembe, what service channels are available for our viewers for them to pay? Because now we are talking URA, which is now much more technologically advanced with the e-free system.
Yes.
We no longer have to have those physical receipts and so on. So what means or service channels are there for them to file returns in this case?
We know that it does not stop at filing a tax return. When you file a tax return, the same timeline, it's within that same timeline that you're required to pay the tax that may be due. And the payment of tax becomes very crucial, because if you do not pay it, then it means your obligations stay pending. You can pay. Let's talk about our people who may not have the luxury of very high-end phones, smartphones that they can download the URA app and do all the business they want to do, okay? Then it means one will have to go to their small phone, be it these GSM phones, we call them katochi.
Yes.
Those small phones. You don't need internet. Just press your phone buttons on any network, *285#. Okay, *285#. If you're a small business operator, go to element number 4, and then you clear your presumptive tax. You can pay it all in a go. Okay, otherwise the other payment options are there, and you choose. I mean, the moment you go to *285#, it gives you a number. The menu is long. You choose payments, and then you proceed to choose the year for which you're paying. Then you indicate I'm paying for the current year, and so it guides you on from there on. So the phone payment platform is the easiest, because even as we speak, as long as you have some money on your mobile money phone, this you can do. Okay. The other options of you paying via the bank, using Visa, using your bank agent, are very much available, and we encourage our people to use these platforms to meet their obligations of paying tax to the Uganda Revenue Authority. Where one has a challenge on the payment platform that they are using, please call the URA. We are available on WhatsApp, Anthony, 0772 14
No, simple. 0772 14 Quadra 0. Great.
WhatsApp. Just send us a WhatsApp chat, and we have people who are even at this time ready to give you assistance on any question you have regarding taxation. If you do not have the WhatsApp platform on your phone, then call 0800 117000. Okay? Or 0800 217000. Those numbers are available, and you can call, and the URA people will assist you.
And then online?
Online, we are available on Facebook, our URA page, on Twitter, we are available. Even if you choose to go on LinkedIn, all those other platforms, we are available to assist. For many of these, like filing a tax return, the process itself, we have YouTube videos. You just go to the URA TV channel. It is URA TV, that is our YouTube channel. There are explanatory videos and step-by-step guides on how to file any of the tax returns that you may need to file. It could be a partnership return, it could be a provisional return, it could be a rental income tax return, or any other form of return that suits your state of registration with the Uganda Revenue Authority. So it's really important that we meet these obligations. It's really important that where we lack any knowledge on how to meet these obligations, we engage with the URA to be assisted, and the assistance will come your way.
There are people who don't own businesses, but they are employed.
Yes.
And some of them are employed in more than one company. They're working for so-and-so, and then they're working for so-and-so. They're paying pay-as-you-earn, they're paying local service tax. Are they obliged to file returns?
Oh, thank you. Anyone who is with one job, your only source of income is your job as a lecturer at Makerere University. In such a case, as a lecturer at Makerere University, your salary is charged tax, which is pay as you earn, by the university that has employed you. And if that is all the job you do, then you do not have to file tax returns. But where you have a job as a Makerere University lecturer and you part-time at Victoria University, you will be taxed at Makerere University.
Pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn. And the pay as you earn, you are charged at Victoria University or any other university. I'm just using this as an example. Any other university will be charged tax at a rate of 30%. It will be, whichever amount that you earn will be charged at 30%. And where you feel this 30% may not be fair to you, you have...
It already sounds unfair.
Yes, exactly. Then you have the right to file a tax return with the Uganda Revenue Authority on the URA portal, and you indicate the salary.
Both salaries?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it will be balanced and taxed as one. If there is any refund that may be due to you, it will be given to you. Wow. So that is the circumstance. Otherwise, those are the circumstances. Otherwise, a person whose sole source of income is employment, and your employer taxes your salary and remits the money to the Uganda Revenue Authority, such a person doesn't have to file an income tax return.
Does this have any threshold of, because there's some people who earn very big salaries, some people earn smaller salaries.
Yes.
Does it have thresholds? Does it have ranges of salaries, or it applies to all?
Yes, for salaries, the amounts, if we can speak on monthly terms, because most people are paid on a monthly basis. Yes, if your salary is below 235,000 per month, you do not pay tax. And so even if your employer, and I would encourage the employer to indicate that I pay Anthony 200,000 and the tax is zero.
God forbid.
Okay, yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
if you're earning 200,000,
there is no
tax.
200.
No pay as you earn, no filing returns, no nothing.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
And if you 230,000, no tax. 235,000 upwards, there is tax. So that is how it all plays out. Now, 235,000 to 335,000, you tax 10% on the amount in between there. And 335,000 to 410,000, the amount in between there is taxed at 20%. And above 410,000, amount above is taxed at 30%.
That is up to our MP's salaries.
Yes. Now, if you earn,
does that go up?
Yes.
To those
now, if you earn any amounts above 10 million, they are charged an extra 10%.
That's 40% now.
Ideally, and if you put it in, an aggregated consolidation, it becomes 40% on those amounts that are above 10 million. So the more you earn, the more you pay. Because we started at a guy who is earning below 200,000. For you, it was God forbid. Yes, that guy doesn't pay.
Yes, so
as you
let's say
graduate,
I earn 100 million per month.
Yes, 100 million. Then
that means I pay 40 million, 40%.
On the amounts above 10 million. So it means the other 90 million within the month will be charged.
Oh, it's the extra
above
of the 10 million that is taxed at 40%.
Yes.
But now the 10 million, let's say, the 10% is taxed at
the graduating rates.
Absolutely.
At progressive rates of zero for the amounts below 235,000. Then 10% for the amounts between 235 and 335 and so on.
I think I'm going to stop envying my bosses because they seem to be having a burden.
Yes, you see, that is the purpose of taxes. Taxes are supposed to have a rebalancing factor or role in a redistribution of income by taxing those who earn more, such that there is that averaging of the incomes within any social and economic set.
I think our people really needed to know that.
Yes.
Well, as we wind down, Mr. Masembe, tell us about the taxpayer appreciation season 2023.
Oh, yeah.
We know you guys achieved your targets and surpassed it last year. and you had a party which you didn't invite us to. But now you're telling us there's a taxpayer appreciation season. What's this about?
There was no party, I need to say. There was no party, but there was a celebration. Of course, we have to celebrate. And for me, what I see in this year's taxpayer appreciation season is to celebrate the taxpayers.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, Anthony, the past 3 years have not been easy years for anyone. For anyone. I think world over, while we were getting out of the COVID-19 plunge, then those economic and Russia and Ukraine wars come in, and Ebola, it's been a lot.
Terrific.
It's been a lot, but you see the perseverance that we've seen our business operators, our taxpayers, hold. It's really commendable, and we need to appreciate them now. This celebration and appreciation of our taxpayers coincides with the month of URA's formation. URA was formed in 1991, September. URA started work. And we choose this particular month, commemorating the URA's formation, to be the same month in which we appreciate the taxpayers who have taken the responsibility to meet their tax obligations. What do? We up our game on service. And we will have a service week that will be in the first week of October, when we will be breathing, walking, talking service as an institution, because it is a challenge that we have addressed ourselves to as an institution. We've had a lot of feedback that is telling about the gaps in our service offer, the courtesy, the professionalism that we need to be seen, projecting and serving our clients with, needs to define us in the season as we appreciating taxpayers and beyond. Okay, the culture, the good discipline that we need to be having within this season, we need to carry it forward. But at least let's use this season to launch ourselves into this culture. If we are already into that season and culture, let's deepen ourselves into it, such that our taxpayers, the comfort, the environment in which they fulfill their obligations, it makes them at least find a bit of love or commitment to do this. They need to find a supporting partner in us to meeting these obligations, and that's what we want to do in this season. The second thing is to bridge those partnerships, and that's why you see we are going to have regional tournaments, tax derbies, we call them football derbies. Derby. Wow. You're going to find our URA staff, senior management staff, playing soccer with the Antonies and the other taxpayers from across the other side. And you know the beauty of football, the love and that beautiful game and the relationship building that it does. It's what we want the games to do us. So in the northern, eastern, western, central regions, we're going to have these games. But at the start of the season, we're going to start with an annual Thanksgiving prayer. So that will be happening on this Saturday. We are going to thank God, and we've sent out invitations to particular people who will be joining us, business associations, to represent, because you may not have everyone from the general public join the prayers, but we're going to be broadcasting these on our YouTube channel and all our digital media platforms to encourage the general public to join us in this celebration, as we will be appreciating. Top among the activities as we appreciate will be the rewarding and appreciation of those taxpayers who have stood out among their other categories of taxpayers in their fulfillment of tax obligations. And we are not talking about the guys who pay more, who pay the highest, but we are talking about
those who are compliant.
Who are actually doing everything the way it is supposed to be done. Do you have your registration record accurate? Do you consult? Do you pay or file everything in time? That is the guy we are looking for. That is the guy we want to be telling thank you, that he or she becomes the example
to the rest.
that others may have to follow. So that is the big thing that we want to be running September, October, November. And we hope that the momentum it will give us will drive us through the entire year.
Well, that's amazing. I really hope to be part of such a drive. Thank you so much, Mr. Masembe, once again for your insights into filing tax returns.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now you know that 30th September shouldn't catch you unawares. It's the day of deadline for, of course, the provisional returns. You don't have to have everything accurate. He has just mentioned there's a window of 90% accuracy. Then there's an option for you to actually call in at the numbers that he has just shared, and you can be able to consult the experts on how to do this well. Do this well so you avoid the penalties and the discomfort that comes with them. My name is Anthony. Once again, thank you so much. Coming up is Business Today, the business news update here at Smart 24 TV. Have a good night. Bye for now.